Hey YouTube, Hero Qualia here, bringing you all my budget Chronojet Cardfight Vanguard deck profile for posts the next stage. This is the budget version for the Chronojet trial deck that was recently released along with the new support for the next stage extra booster set. I wanted to focus on a deck that utilizes Chronojet Dragon and all of the more affordable grade 4s you can use from the newest sets. I know next stage and a lot of the other triple rares from the set are quite expensive, so this deck focuses on some of the more affordable cards for a working Chronojet Dragon deck. As a whole, there's also another deck we can work on from this set that focuses on the upstream Melum support as a whole, which I definitely think would be an awesome deck profile to work on later on as well. But for now, I'll focus on the more popular version, which is the Chronojet Dragon deck, and I will also be releasing a more meta-relevant version of the deck profile later on as well when I gather all of the rest of the support from the next stage booster set. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So for the grade 3s, really the only grade 3 we run, since we do have to run a good number of grade 4s in the deck also, are Chronojet Dragon. With this one, on Vanguard, discard one or more cards with the sum of their grades being 3 or greater from your hand. Search your deck for up to one grade 4, ride it as stand, and shuffle your deck. At the end of the turn, retire that unit and ride a grade 3 from your soul as rest. So basically, it's the main focus of all the different Gear Chronicle units, so you discard a card, almost like Stride from G format, where then you're able to ride a grade 4 from your deck, which is a definitely stronger version of a lot of the different grade 3s we run in the deck as a whole. And on Vanguard or Rear, when it attacks, counter +1 until the end of that battle. This unit gets plus 5,000, and your opponent cannot call Sentinels from his or her hand. So the guard restriction with Chronojet makes it for a great backup grade 3 on the rear guard as well. And just overall, if you don't have the cards in your hand to discard, you at least have this backup ability with Chronojet Dragon, being able to attack against your opponent and just having that Sentinel restriction, especially with the new critical trigger, which still counts as a Sentinel for a huge shield cost. For your opponent not being able to use that critical trigger means they don't have a lot to focus on power-wise either for the deck. So for this card, definitely needed as your main go-to 3 for this deck. For the grade 4s, I am running 4 Interdimensional Beasts Metallica Phoenix. This unit cannot be normal ride, and it doesn't have Imaginary Gift Force, with the re-riding of your grade 3 from the soul being your main way to get force markers on the field. With Metallica Phoenix, this one's known ability is the fact that it is grade 4 with triple drive. A lot of the other grade 4s we run only have twin drive, but with Metallica Phoenix having triple drive, makes for a very scary drive check against your opponent, and then obviously just having that strength with your Chronojet Dragon being your main go-to ride for the deck. You definitely want to run 4 of it just for the fact that you can have other cards. If you do draw Metallica Phoenix, as long as you have other ones in the deck to use, you can discard them for costs for the effect of Chronojet Dragon altogether. And we also have a backup grade 4 that was available in the newest set, the next stage, which is Interdimensional Beast Isolate Lion. On Vanguard, when placed, look at the top card of your deck and call it to rear. And on Vanguard, once per turn, retire a rear guard, search your deck for up to one grade 3 card, call it to rear, shuffle your deck, and that unit gets plus 5,000 until end of turn. So the basic setup with this is, one, I wanted to run a good number of grade 4s to have for the effect of Chronojet Dragon, but being able to call the top card of your deck, it could be any card, that you call out. Then you can retire it, search out Chronojet, and then also be able to use Chronojet Dragon on your rear guard for that counterblast usage, which Metallica Phoenix and also Isolate Lion don't use any counterblasts for their abilities. You can rely on all that for the majority of your other cards in the deck, including Chronojet Dragon, so you can always go into your different grade 4s. But Isolate Lion is just a great backup and very much affordable compared to some of the other grade 4s, like Next Stage, which will be some of the heavier meta decks, but these are definitely more of the fun budget versions if you at least wanted to give Gear Chronicle Chronojet a try altogether and see if you end up liking the playstyle before investing big amounts of money into the deck. But running 7 grade 4s is definitely my go-to numbers. You have the grade 3 option to ride into with Chronojet Dragon, and then just relying on all these cards if you do draw into them for the cost for the discard for Chronojet Dragon's main Vanguard ability. And that is it for the grade 3s and 4s. We'll now move on to the grade 2s. I'm running 4 Stroboscope Dragon. This is your grade 2 that was available in the trial deck with Chronojet Dragon. On Vanguard or rear, at the end of the battle they attacked, Soul Blast 1 and discard a card from your hand. Choose one of your opponent's rear guards, retire it. And if your Vanguard is grade 4, draw a card. So you have the retire ability for this card on your Vanguard circle, but also on rear guard as backup. Even if you call it with cards like Isolate Dragon, you just have that easy setup as well. And then being able to draw a card gives you more hand consistency for either, opening up Sentinels or even just being able to go for those additional cards to call out against your opponent after this card attacks. So very, very useful there for sure. For just using a Soul Blast, you don't eat up Counter Blast with this card, so you can save them all for Chronojet Dragon. Altogether, a very, very useful card for sure. And once again, it was a trial deck card, which you get 4 copies of alone. You don't get the foil versions, but still, the common versions are still usable for anyone looking to build this deck. So 4 copies of this, definitely useful for sure. And also, I am running 4 Steam Breaker Doo-Doo with this one. During your turn, if you discarded cards from your hand this turn, all of your units in the same column as this unit get plus 5,000. So this is just a great power-up unit. Also, ride target as well, since all of the grade 2s we're running are 10k power. But just for the fact that the discard cards from your hand work when you have Chronojet Dragon on your Vanguard circle, this unit being able to get this power boost for all the other units in the same column as this one means for a great boost in attack as well, and just even better if you want to go for Imaginary Gift Force 2 for the additional critical power. Then you can rely on the strength you'll get from your triple drives with Metallica Phoenix, or just the overall rear guard setup with Isolate Lion, and then these additional boosted powers, and then just go for the additional critical that you have with all of your units as well. So for this card, definitely useful, since you're most always going to have that plus 5 power, since you're going for the basic grade 4 ride every turn, and then to do so you'll have to have that discard cost from your hand as well. And lastly, to finish off the grade 2s, I am also running 2 Steam Breaker Narmanin, I believe is how you pronounce it, on rear guard. When it attacks, discard 1 or more cards with the sum of their grades being 3 or greater from your hand, and this unit gets plus 15,000 power until end of turn. So once again, going back to the Imaginary Gift Force play that I was speaking of, this is just another easy way to make use of the overall power of your units, hitting 25,000 power in total with these ones alone, and then being able to rely on those units for the overall strength of the deck as a whole. So 2 normally in your hand definitely make for some pretty good pressure altogether for your cards. So you want to completely rely on this unit for the strength that you can do with these setups. And that is it for the grade 2s. We'll now move on to the grade 1s. One of your definitely most important grade 1s in the deck is Bearing Rover. On Vanguard, when attack hits, discard a card from your hand and draw a card. So you have a good Vanguard target for your ride, and just being able to discard a card to draw a card means for just consistency for your hand to hopefully get to the Chronojet Dragon, which will be your main grade 3 ride in the deck also. And from the hand, when this unit card will be discarded, it may be discarded as a grade 3. So along with the other grade 4 options you have, you can use this card as the discard cost for your Chronojet Dragon altogether. It's definitely a staple for sure. We had some other, stride cost cards. I'm calling it stride, but it's mostly just, like the superior ride from the deck for this focus, but it definitely does feel a lot like stride. With Bearing Rover, having that option, you have plenty of other units. You can save consistency, and you don't have to discard multiple cards from your hand as long as you have this option. You're only going to ride one of these cards as your ride target, meaning you can open up plenty of other ones for you to use in the deck as well. And I am also running 4 Mazer Gear Dragon. This one, when discarded from your hand during your turn, Soul Blast 1, choose one of your opponent's front row rear guards and retire it. So being able to take out your opponent's intercepts as well, just for the discard cost, you have Narmanin in your hand for the discard power for its own boost, and you also have plenty of other options, discarding it with Chronojet Dragon for the sum total to be grade 3, then getting the additional retire effects with these cards, and having that optional power with our next grade 1 unit means that you're just using up the soul, which the only other things you really use it for are your Stroboscope Dragon. So having that power discard cost and just that consistent power to use it means very, very useful altogether for your plays. And the final grade 1 that can also use that discard power is Steam Cook Shosh, which I'm also running 4 of. When it attacks, discard a card from your hand, and this unit gets plus 10,000 until end of turn. So with this card, Steam Cook Shosh can also discard your Mazer Gear Dragon. Let's say you're already road into your grade 4 option. You can then discard this card from your hand to have this unit get plus 10,000 when it attacks for that 18,000 power, and then also use Mazer Gear Dragon for the Soul Blast to retire another of your opponent's units in the front row while having this unit go after your opponent's Vanguard Circle, and being able to use your Imaginary Gift Force 2. You don't need to use the Force 1 to power up your units. You can go for the additional critical power with these cards while still being able to hit those high numbers like I said before also. And that is it for the grade 1s. We'll now move on to the grade 0s. For your starter, I decided to go with Chronodron. It's the definite one for Chrono Shindo's main deck, which is Gear Chronicle as a whole. When wrote upon, draw a card. Then if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 1 or greater, put a Quick Shield ticket into your hand. So the Quick Shields are some of the new normal order cards we're getting, just as an additional shield unit to rely on against your opponent. They can also stay outside of the deck, so you don't have to worry about drawing into any of those other cards, because for more of the budget version of the deck, I wanted to focus on just monster units, with some of the normal orders being more reliable in some of the more, meta-relevant, expensive decks. And once we get more of the different generic ones that we have some of the more, power-based ones, but I feel like you just need the monsters for this type of budget type of Chronojet deck. And for the trigger lineup, I am running the 8 critical, so the 4 Steam Bomber De Gaulle and the 4 Reclaim Key Draco Kid for the critical lineup. And then for the draw triggers, I'm running 4 Steam Guard Castilla. With this one, it's more affordable now since it is in the structure deck. If you wanted to run the generic draw trigger, you could put it in for that spot. And then for the grade 1 spot, take out just your, Steam Cook Shosh for the grade 1 Sentinels if you prefer to run those. And like I said, just run the generic draw trigger for this spot altogether. Or you can even try Heart Thump Worker. It's the new Sentinel with the critical 30,000 shield. Another good one to try out if you're looking just for more guard against your opponent without having to discard. And lastly, for Steam Maiden Uluru, it's the new art, new heal trigger that we run in the deck altogether. Very, very awesome that we got a new heal. Can't wait to see how they do this for all the other clans getting new heal triggers as well. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoy the video. Definitely happy with the results of the deck as a whole, just being more budget friendly for people looking to try Gear Chronicle, especially with Chronojet Dragon being our new go-to card for the deck. But once again, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And until next time, Kira Qualia out.